Hello, this is Betty with Betty Stamping Crazy, and I had a request to do this card that was my swap card for last week. I had to make 13 of these. And I wanted to make them really simple. The only things I used on this were a couple of stamp sets. One from the occasions. I thought, okay, something old, something new. And what I did was I used The Lovely as a Tree, which is in the the annual catalog, and I used these trees down here. And I got this idea from a card on Pinterest, which the girl did a little bit different, and I decided to change mine up, and I'll tell you about it in a minute. Also, the two set of the Beautiful You, which is in the occasions catalog, and I used this image right here. And for this card, my swap card, I used the let me find it. Wishing You a Brighter Days to Come. But on this card, I'm going to use this Live with Passion, Laugh Out Loud, and Love Deeply. I love that saying. So I decided to do that. And your card pieces, the only thing you're going to need is 5 by 3 3/4 on your Whisper White. And also your base, which is Early Espresso, is 8.5 by 5.5, and it's scored at 4 1/4. I am using the watercolor pencils, which are in the occasions catalog too. I'm only using 3 colors, and I am going to tell you, when you're having to sharpen these, which I had to do after making 13 of these, try not to sharpen them too sharp. I just kind of got one of these I sharpened too sharp, which this one right here, and I wound up having to go back in and resharpen it because I broke the lid. I wasn't paying attention and I got too sharp, and you can see how sharp I got it, and of course it broke on me. These are soft pencils because they are watercolor, and so just if you're going to sharpen them with a pencil sharpener, just don't get them too sharp, and then kind of dull them down at the edge. That's what I try to do with these. Some people take a knife and go in there and just kind of cut the edge off. I am not steady enough with a knife, so I prefer not to do that. Now my watercolor pencils, they come in this box, but I put them in one of our small cases. You can buy these they're in the catalog too, the annual catalog. And what I do is I put my pencils in there, and I also put my blender pen in there. And you still have plenty of room if you wanted to put 2 or 3 blender pencils in there. And I printed this off from a lady, and I'm sorry, I don't remember who it was. I think it was somebody on a Facebook demonstrator site. She allowed us to print these off. I will try to find it, but I'm not guaranteeing anything because it's been a while since I did this. Okay, the stamps, the way I set them up, let me get all this back over here out of the way, kind of. The way I set them up, I did use the Misty. I have 2 Misties at 2 different sizes, and since I was making so many of these at once, I set it up to where I had these stamping, and then I had the other Misty with the trees stamping. And what I used on the colors, I'm going to show you with just the stamping. I'm not going to use the Misty. What I used for the colors is I used the basic black archival ink, but you want to be careful and not go over it too much with your blender pen once you get the color on, because it will. I had it smear on me on a couple of them. Not much, but just a little bit, and it kind of irritated me. So if you're real picky, don't use, you can use the Stays On, and it's a little bit, to me it's a little bit more permanent ink. Also, for the trees, I used the Sahara Sand. So that's the only 2 ink pads that I used. Now for the colors on the pencils, I used the basic gray, because I just colored some gray right in here. And I used the Calypso Coral for her umbrella, and I used the Bermuda Bay for her dress, and a little bit down here on her shoes. And of course I blended it with a blender pen. Now you want to be careful not to blend too much with this in one spot because it will peel. Now the way I set it up for this card, I put it on the, let me figure out which block this is. They say on here. Okay, this is the E block, which is a pretty good size stamp, or pretty good size block. And I just set them up where I wanted them on the card, and then I set this down on it. And for this purpose, I wanted this dry good, the black to be dry better. So I've already stamped it on the other side of my card. So now we can go ahead and stamp the trees, which, as I said, I'm going to do in Sahara Sand because I wanted them pretty light. Oh, I was going to tell you about the other girl's card. What she did was she came across, she stamped an image here with the trees, and then she came over here and finished it up. Well, that causes all the trees to be in here. But what she did, and I will show an example of that, is like I just wanted one stamp. But you can see the trees are in her image. Well, she took the brown and colored it in, but you can still see the trees. So that's not what I wanted. So what I did was I came in with my trees. Let me get my ink down here. And I just stamped up part of them. Sorry, don't mean to do that. Let's go ahead and get quite a bit. And then I'm going to take a piece of scrap paper so I don't get it all over my scratch pad here, or my pad here. And then I just came in and right about here, I got it real close to her umbrella, but not on top of it. And there you go. This one's not quite as close, but that's fine. You just want the tree images in the background. Okay, then I came in. Let's go ahead and color her. Go ahead and color her with this Calypso Coral. And I just kind of scratched at it. Same thing. And if you have to, which I did, I thought it was easier for me to just come in like this. And it doesn't matter if it's leaving lines. Let me pull you down where you can see a little better. Okay. Now I'll try to stay up here in the camera. And I just kind of colored in a little bit. Okay, and then I went ahead and went in with the Bermuda Bay. Let me get this over here. And I just kind of scratched at it. You don't have to be perfect. Some of them I got in a little hurry and I went over the lines, but down here. But it's kind of a, I don't remember what they call this kind of a deal. It's not perfect. So you don't have to be perfect. Then I got her shoe down here a little bit. And you know what? I really shouldn't have done that because that's probably her foot. But I wanted to give the shoe a little bit of color down there. And then I took the gray and I just came in like this. Don't come in too much on your wording because you don't want to go over it too much with that blender pen. And I just kind of blend it around her. Get it a little bit darker in spots. Come on up here. And you can go across that. Okay, now let's get these out of the way because I am finished with those. And I'm going to bring my blender pen back in and, oops, let me close my Sahara Sand. I'm through with it. Get this off here. And this is just to clean my thing off, my blender pen. And I'm just going to come in. I'm trying to stay on camera, trying to keep an eye on it. And just kind of blend it in a little bit. And that gets rid of your marks. Most of them. But you don't want to get rid of all of them because you want to give it just a little bit of character. That's the way I feel anyway. Okay. Now I'm going to clean off my blender pen. And that does clean all the way off. And I'm going to come in and I'm going to go ahead and get this gray a little bit. And you don't have to be perfect on this, just kind of hit it with the blender pen. Kind of turn your blender pen so that it's not getting dry on one side. Okay, and then come across here. Come down this way. And you're still leaving streaks, but I like the streaks. Like I said, don't blend it too much. Just kind of come in on it. Okay. And then I'm going to come down on her dress. I'm trying to keep this in camera. Sorry, guys. There we go. And see, you don't have to do that much. Blend that a little bit. That's it as far as that goes. I have got it. You can put some sky up here if you want to, but I just wanted to leave it like that. Okay, let's get our base card here. And see, with the blender pen, as long as you're not getting real heavy, which you really don't want to do, because it will, this is regular cardstock, so. Okay, let me get my, oh, this one's almost out. Let me grab another one. Okay, here's the fast fuse. And just put it on there. And I left a really big gap. I like that. Now, if you want to, I preferred not to. You could put maybe a mat of Bermuda Bay behind it, or you could take this and cut the early espresso down to where it's not got so much of a gap on it, and then put it on a Bermuda Bay base. But like I said, I just prefer to do it this way. And there's your card. How simple can that be? And you can, I like coloring every so often. It gives me an outlet sometimes. So, and you can put a piece of Whisper White in here. And I don't have, yeah, I do. I do have one here. Let's do this. I know I have it here somewhere. And you can take this and let me go ahead and stamp her, the image of her on there. Oh, let me bring you back up. Okay. Let me go ahead and do it this way because I want to stamp her, but I don't want the saying. So I'm going to stamp her just down in here, just like that. And you can leave her uncolored on the inside. I should have put her on the other side, but that's okay. You get the idea. And let me just take this, and you can color her if you want to. Get a little bit more here. I just prefer to leave her like this. This is a little bit bigger piece. This is the 5 1/4 by 4 that I'm putting in here. Oh, you know what? I put it on the wrong side. Maybe I can get it up. Since I only put it on the edges. Woo! I can't believe I did that. Yeah, I can. Okay. Now that's going to leave that messed up, but this is my card. I'll probably just keep this one myself, so. Or I could put something up there and cover that up. Who knows? Okay, let's put her down on the right side. Just like that. And there's the inside, and you can write in here. Isn't that pretty? I like it because it's simple and fun. Okay, and this is Betty with Betty Stamping Crazy, and I know you've heard this probably 1,000 times from a lot of people. We are having the occasion celebration from now till March, the end of March, to where if you order $50 worth of products on one order, that's before shipping and taxes, then you can order from, or you get a free item from the celebration catalogs, which is the small one, and you can go to my online store and look at those, or you can go to my blog and kind of look around. But mostly, if you want to look through the catalogs, you could probably go to the online store and just look up catalogs. And they'll have the annual catalog, they'll have the celebration catalog, and which is the small one, and then they'll have the occasions catalog. And it's a lot of cute stuff in there. I am going to be doing a lot more videos on a lot of the occasions catalog and some on the celebration stuff, so look for that in the future. Anyway, this is Betty with Betty's Stamping Crazy, and thank you for watching. Bye bye now.